Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
This is the month. We tell you about this every month, but this is the month. Because this month, September, Friday the 13th actually came on a Friday. I know. Those things. Well, just in keeping with the spirit, we're going to have episodes of It Pays to Be Ignorant, episode of Jack Benny, Marie Wilson, and My Friend Irma. Although it is an episode, I'm sorry, Jimmy, Joan Banks is going to be playing Jane. An episode of the Amos and Andy Music Hall, and an episode of Claudia. That's all straight ahead on this Friday the 13th day of September, 257th day of the year, 109 days remaining. Most popular song 75 years ago today would be thought to be extremely politically incorrect today. In 1943, Chiang Kai-shek became president of China. In 1948, Republican Margaret Chase Smith of Maine elected to the Senate, becoming the first woman to have served in both houses of Congress. The four-day revolt at the maximum security prison in Attica, New York, ended on this date in 1971. State police and National Guardsmen stormed the facility. 42 people died. In 1982, retired Army General William Westmoreland sued CBS for $120 million, charging he was libeled in a documentary on the Vietnam War that had aired 8 months earlier.
The only question is whether CBS had an obligation to be accurate in its facts before it attempted to destroy a man's character.
The broadcast alleged that while commander of U.S. military forces in Vietnam, Westmoreland had conspired to understate enemy troop strength. He and CBS reached an out-of-court settlement in 1985. No money changed hands. In 1988, Hurricane Gilbert, the strongest reported hurricane in the Western Hemisphere based on barometric pressure. Also in 1993, Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, PLO Chairman Yasser Arafat shook hands after signing an historic peace agreement.
This bold new venture today, this brave gamble that the future can be better than the past, must endure.
President Clinton, the deal granted limited Palestinian autonomy. In 1998, NBC's Frasier won a record fifth consecutive Emmy as TV's best comedy series. In 2001, Secretary of State Colin Powell named Osama bin Laden as the prime suspect in U.S. terror attacks. President Bush called the attacks the first war of the 21st century.
Now's an opportunity to do generations a favor by coming together and whipping terrorism.
On this day in 2001, limited commercial flights had resumed for the first time in 2 days, and World Wrestling Entertainment SmackDown, broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, became the first major sporting event to take place following the September 11 attacks. In 2008, Hurricane Ike made landfall on the Texas Gulf Coast of the U.S., causing heavy damage to Galveston Island, Houston, and surrounding areas. 2018, the Merrimack Valley gas explosions. 1 person killed, 25 injured, 40 homes destroyed. Excessive natural gas pressure caused fires and explosions. The number one song on this date in 1947, an unlikely country swing tune by Tex Williams.
Now, I'm a fellow with a heart of gold, with the ways of a gentleman, I've been told, the kind of a feller that wouldn't even harm a flea. But if me and a certain character met, the guy that invented the cigarette, I'd murder that son of a gun in the first degree. Of course, it ain't 'cause I don't smoke myself, and I don't reckon they hinder your health. I've smoked them all my life, and I ain't dead yet. But nicotine slaves are all the same at a petting party or a poker game. Everything's got to stop. while they smokes a cigarette. Smoke, smoke, smoke that cigarette. Puff, 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 and if you smoke yourself to death, tell St. Peter at the Golden Gate that you hates to make him wait. You've gotta have another cigarette.
Spent 16 non-consecutive weeks on the Hot Country Songs chart. It became a number one hit in August of 1947 and remained at the top of the bestsellers and stores charts for 6 weeks. It was written in 1947, and you have to tell you, you couldn't do that today. Phil Harris did a version of it that went on the chart for 4 weeks. It got as high as number 8. Let's see. It was covered by Johnny Bond and his Red River Valley Boys. Sammy Davis Jr. did it as well. It hit number 89 on the country charts. Others that recorded the song, Willie Nelson, Dennis Weaver, Michael Nesmith, Hank Thompson, Jimmy Dean, Commander Cody, Asleep at the Wheel, Doc France, Eddie Mitchell recording a French version of the song. And there you go. It went all over the charts. And you probably couldn't record it today. Smoke, Smoke, Smoke That Cigarette, Capitol Records' first million-selling record. Passing away on this date in history, Tupac Shakur, George Wallace, the governor of Alabama, actress Dorothy McGuire, and singer-songwriter Eddie Money. Birthdays on this date include The Velvet Fog, Mel Torme.
You saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own.
Night Court revived a lot of interest in Mel Torme, a wonderful singer. He was born on this date in history, as was physician biologist Walter Reed, chocolate entrepreneur Milton Hershey, actress Claudette Colbert, singer Bill Monroe, from the man who wrote James and the Giant Peach, the BFG, Matilda, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Roald Dahl. Born on this date, vocalist Dick Hames, and actress-singer Nell Carter, all born on this date in history.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
Miss Manners, etiquette writer Judith Martin turns 86 years old today. The lead singer for Blood, Sweat, and Tears, David Clayton Thomas, is 83.
1973. I lost that love before. Got mad and closed the door. But you said, child, just once more. I chose you for the one. Now we're having so much fun. You treated me so kind. I'm about to lose my mind. You made me so very happy. I'm so glad you came into my life.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears' big hit, You Made Me So Very Happy. David Clayton Thomas, 83 today. British actress Jacqueline Bisset is 80. Singer, bass guitarist for Chicago, Peter Cetera, is 80.
1986. Next time I fall in love, I'll know better what to do. Next time I fall in love, the next time I fall in love, the next time I fall in love, it will be with you.
written by Bobby Caldwell and Paul Gordon. Peter Cetera recorded that with Amy Grant. The Next Time I Fall in Love. Peter Cetera. Most of his fame was from Chicago. Peter Cetera, 80 today. From Designing Women in the HBA series Hacks, Gene Smart is 73 today.
You don't know what hard is. You got plucked off the internet at, what, 20?
Gene Smart, 73 years old today. Others born on this date include Medea, Tyler Perry, 55, singer Fiona Apple, 47. From Boy Meets World, Ben Savage is 44. From the WWE and fellow Kansan Baron Corbin turns 28. And from Riverdale, Lily Reinhart is 28. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 13th day of September as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday,
we baked you a birthday cake. If you get a tummy ache and you moan and groan and woe, don't forget we told you so. Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Make a wish, dear, and blow out the candles.
Here they go.
And we start off today with an episode of It Pays to Be Ignorant. And this is not an Armed Forces edition of the show. This is the broadcast version of the show from 74 years ago, September 13th, 1950, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on a Friday the 13th.
There's an issue cutting through the partisanship in Congress. It's AM radio. The overwhelming majority of legislators, Democrats and Republicans, support a bill to keep AM radio in cars. But time is running out. Text AM to 52886 and ask Congress to bring this bill to the floor for a vote now. AM radio is too important to let this moment pass us by.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Friday the 13th edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox gets underway now in the shows. An episode of It Pays to Be Ignorant, 74 years ago, September 13th, 1950.
Ladies and gentlemen, the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America present It Pays to Be Ignorant.
Why is a man like a worm?
Because some chicken always gets them.
Pay the man $8.
It pays to be ignorant.
What's the difference between a bad boy and a postage stamp?
One you lick with a stick and the other you stick with a lick.
Pay the man $9 because...
It pays to be ignorant. Friends, you're making sure your car gets really expert service when you take it to a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. For that's where you get trained men to work on it, and most important of all, where you're charged a fair price for the work done. And remember, the DeSoto Plymouth dealers handle two really great new cars, DeSoto and Plymouth. The brilliant new DeSoto is easy to look at, comfortable to ride in, and economical to operate. And DeSoto lets you drive without shifting. So drive a DeSoto before you decide. And don't forget, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to meet your quizmaster, and here he is, the star of our show, Mr. Tom Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Stark, and good evening, folks. Another week and another session of that screwy quiz program that reminds you of a gymnasium because it's full of dumbbells. We have a board of experts who are so dumb they think a timetable has 4 legs. First, we have the celebrated author, Mr. Harry McNaughton, who has just written a book entitled The Life of a Plumber, or 20,000 Leaks Under the Sink. But here he is, Mr. Harry McNaughton.
Thank you. I have a poem, Mr. Howard.
You never fail.
Yes, a poem. There was a young lady from Ginter who married a man in the winter. The man's name was Wood, and now, as they should, the Woods have a cute little splinter.
Terrific, that is.
Yeah, he's a chip off the old block.
All right. Next we have a woman who is so old she was refused a guest spot on that radio program, Life Begins at 80. A woman who has nice color in her face, if you like green. Here she is, Miss Lulu McConnell.
Well, Mr. Howard, me and my old man had another fight last night.
You two should charge admission. What is it this time?
Well, he comes over hollering his head off for his supper.
Well, what did you give him?
Oh, I gave him some pudding, then some ice cream, then tapioca pudding, and then some Jell-O.
What's the idea?
I'm deserting him.
You're I wish you'd desert me. Next, you have a man who goes to the post office every day to admire his picture hanging on the wall. A man who has the courage of 9 men, all of them cowards. Here he is, Mr. George Shelton.
Well, you know, Mr. Howard, I'm not feeling so well lately.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. What's the trouble?
Well, when I go to bed every night, all I see is white and black spots in front of my eyes.
You ever see a doctor?
No, only white and black spots.
All right. Well, those are the experts, folks, so if you feel like taking a nap for the next half hour, go right ahead. Here is the first question for the evening. Let's see if we can get an answer. In what town in Pennsylvania did Lincoln make his Gettysburg Address?
Mr. Howard, would you please repeat the question?
What town in Pennsylvania did Lincoln make his Gettysburg Address?
I say, Mr. Howard, this is a history question, isn't it?
That much you have right.
I love history questions. They're so historic.
I see. Do you know Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, Miss McConnell?
No, I don't know anybody in Gettysburg. Never been there.
Never been there.
Nope.
Miss McConnell, do you have to show your ignorance so early?
You mean that thing showing again?
Never mind. Do you know Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, Mr. Shelton?
No, I don't even know Lincoln.
I see. How about you? Do you know Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, Mr. McNaughton?
I'm sorry I don't, Mr. Howard. I know a swell place on 52nd Street.
Oh, please, you mean to sit there and tell me you never heard of Abraham Lincoln, one of our greatest presidents?
Oh, sure, I heard of him, but I didn't know him.
You didn't know?
I didn't even know he lived in Gettysburg.
He did live in Gettysburg. He lived in Washington.
Then how did he come to have an address in Gettysburg?
Mr. Shelton, how can you get so many things wrong in a single day?
I get up early.
All right.
Mr. Howard, tell me, wasn't Mr. Lincoln the man who said you can fool some of the people some of the time and some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool some of the people some of the time?
Mr. McNaughton, you're close. He did say that, but in a different way.
Oh, I see, yes. Do you know what he said, Miss McConnell?
What, who said?
Mr. Lincoln.
No, I never listened to his program.
Miss McConnell, some people grow up and spread good cheer.
Yeah.
You just grew up and spread. Question is, what town in Pennsylvania did Lincoln make his Gettysburg Address?
Mr. Howard, where is Gettysburg?
It's Pennsylvania. It's irrelevant.
Irrelevant Pennsylvania? Never heard of it.
Will you cut it out, please?
Is it a large city, Mr. Howard?
Well, I wouldn't want to say it was a large city.
No. Why wouldn't you want to say it's a large city?
Well, it's...
Come on, speak up, man. There's nothing to be ashamed of.
Certainly not. You're among friends.
I mean, you don't have to hide anything, Mr. Howard.
Certainly not, old boy.
I assure you, Mr. Howard, we'll keep it sub rosa. We'll treat it with the utmost confidence.
What is this? This is... Look! Abraham Lincoln, as I said before, was one of our greatest presidents.
Say, was he the president that threw $1 across the river?
No, you're thinking of George Washington.
Well, I know one thing. You couldn't throw $1 across the river now.
Why not?
$1 wouldn't go that far today. Do you know what I paid for a pound of coffee today? I paid 90 cents. 90 cents for a pound of coffee.
Trip.
You certainly are.
Look, the question is about American history. You learned that at school.
You know, Mr. Howard, in school, American history was my favorite subject.
It was?
Mm-hmm.
All right, can you tell me the date Abraham Lincoln was born?
Why, certainly. He was born February 12th, 1809.
Very good. What happened February the 12th, 1815?
Oh, Lincoln was 6 years old.
Oh, swell.
Did you know when I was 16 years old, I could name all the presidents?
When you were 16 years old, we only had 2. Look. Please. Abraham Lincoln Abraham Lincoln wrote his Gettysburg Address. He wrote his Gettysburg Address while traveling from Washington to Gettysburg on the back of an envelope.
My word, what an odd way to travel. On the back of an envelope? I mean...
Thomas, please, never mind. Like Napoleon, I've met my Waterloo. So let's hear a playoff, will you? Get rid of the whole question. And now, folks, just to get your mind off what has just happened, let's relax as we listen to four young men and a charming young lady as they play a Tom Howard Jr. arrangement of Ace's Wild. Here they are, the Five Clefs. About this time, we invite a member from our studio audience to sort of help us out with the show. Who have we this evening, Mr. Stark?
Well, Mr. Howard, we have a gentleman by the name of Mr. Oswald Carless, and here he is indeed.
Well, good evening, Mr. Carless. How are you this evening?
Oh, fairly well for an old chap.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that. Where are you from, would you care to tell us?
Sterling, New Jersey.
Sterling, New Jersey. Well,
Sterling, New Jersey?
I see.
Well, grease my mattress and wake me up oily.
I see.
I used to work in that town.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was a traffic cop in a sweater factory.
You were a traffic cop in a sweater factory?
I had charge of the pullovers.
Oh, I see. All right. I might warn you, Mr. Carless. Is that right, Carless?
Yes, sir.
I might warn you, pay no attention to what you hear coming from behind you there, because I might ask you, too, have you heard the program before?
Many a time.
You've heard it over in Sterling?
Yes, sir, many a time.
How do you like it?
Very fine.
You like the show?
I do, very much.
No one told you to say that, did they?
Of course not.
I mean, no one sort of twisted your arm or threatened you bodily harm or anything.
No, I enjoy your program very much.
Well?
I always have, too.
Good. Well, I suppose everybody to his taste. Tell me, what are you doing in New York?
Are you taking in the sights?
Please, why do you suppose he came to the program?
Well, is that so?
Yeah.
Why don't you shut up, you skinny old rip?
Thank you.
If you ever put on a fur coat, you'd look like a pipe cleaner.
That's excellent. Excellent, Lou.
Yeah.
You're from Sterling. Have you always lived in Sterling, Mr. Carless?
The last 40 years.
The last 40 years. Where are you originally from?
From England.
From England. That's what I thought. That's why I asked you. I could tell a little by your dialect. You know, having so many people on this program from week to week, we get quite a few people from England, and I've always tried to make a study of their little accents to tell what part of England they're from. I wonder if I could guess what part you're from. Are you somewheres Around Staffordshire?
Absolutely.
You are?
Yes.
Good.
I was born in Staffordshire.
You were born where?
In Staffordshire.
You were born in Staffordshire.
Absolutely.
I got pretty close to it
We
there.
were very close indeed.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Tell me, what do you do? What do you do in New York? I mean, what are you doing this evening? Over here to take in the sights, as you say? Or did
I
you
came especially to see you.
Well, thank you a lot.
I didn't expect to do this.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Well, anything's liable to happen on this show. So don't be nervous about it because we have the experts changed to the chairs there. What do you do? What do you do over in Sterling, New Jersey?
Well, I work on the anvil making and forge wrought iron.
Oh, you're in the wrought iron business.
In my own little shop.
In your own shop. Isn't
Yes,
that
sir.
grand? I suppose you make
forger?
He's a
Yeah, I'm a forger.
wrought iron.
Oh, wrought iron.
Not like your brother-in-law, not checks.
That's right, he's in steel.
He's in steel, I see. Okay.
Damn, no.
You make all sorts of those iron fences and those twirls. It's very hard and very intricate work.
I'm not in that kind of business, Miss Howell, but I'm in business.
You're in business?
Yeah, the insurance business. I insure anything at all.
You do?
Yeah, if you're a letter carrier, I insure your feet.
Yeah.
If you're a piano player, I insure your hands.
Uh-huh.
And if you're a singer, I insure your voice.
That's so.
Well, tell me, what have you got for a rumba dancer?
Well, I got a pro...
Never mind. I thought it was about time we heard from you, Mr. McNaughton. Are you married?
I've been married for 10 years.
I wasn't talking to you.
Keep quiet, Mr. McNaughton. Let's hear what the man's got to say.
Are you married, Mr. Carl?
What do you say?
Wait till he gets it out.
I don't know. He hasn't said it yet.
He is married.
He said yes.
Oh.
Yeah, oh.
What were you saying, Mr. McNaughton?
Never mind, please. How long have you been married, Mr. Carlos?
Well, about 7 years the last time.
Oh, the last time?
Yeah.
I see. Well, tell me, have you any family?
Yes, I have a boy.
Does he work making gates, too?
He's an engineer.
Oh, an engineer. How nice. I see. Well, I want to tell you something. It's been very nice having you with us this evening. We've enjoyed this little
Yes, sure
talk with you.
have. What's your first name, honey?
Oswald.
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 Fancy that.
Yeah.
Well, isn't he a charming gentleman?
Yes,
Oswald. He reminds me of my first husband.
He does.
Yeah, he's a love. He's a oh, if you were very... you can just call him Diesel Engine.
Call you what?
Diesel Engine.
I see.
I got lots of pull.
Yeah. You got lots of drag, too. Will you sit down? Sit down, please. You're rocking the theater here. Before you go, Mr. Costa, would you reach into the cap there that Mr. Stark is holding and pick out a question for us, please? Would you read the question if you don't mind?
I'll be glad to.
Just take your time and read it into our microphone.
What college has the stadium called the Yale Bowl?
Thank you a lot. What college has a stadium called the Yale Bowl?
Mr. Howard, tell me, what's the name of the college?
I'm asking you that.
I know, but I asked you first.
Mr. McNaughton, why don't you take your head out and have it recapped?
I tried to, old boy, but they told me the side walls were no good.
I see. What college has a stadium called the Yale Bowl? Would you know, Mr. Sheldon?
No, I'm afraid not. You see, I don't bowl much.
Well, you have the head for it. Look, the question's about colleges.
Oh, colleges. You know, I was in Harvard.
You were?
Yes, I was in chemistry.
You were. Too bad they ever let you out of the bottle. What college has a stadium called the Yale Bowl? They play football there.
Oh, I just love to go to football games.
Oh, really, Miss McConnell? Do you like the game?
No. I just go to see if the players will make a pass at me. Oh, and I don't want.
Yeah. Please, drop something, Mr. Sheldon. Isn't this terrible? I know it was you. You'll have to put some ashes there. Let's get on with the question, please. It's about football.
Yeah,
Football.
I was a girl. I played on the girls' football team.
You played on the girls' football team?
Yeah, I was a fullback.
You were a fullback. Well, to me, you're a drawback. Now, let's get on.
You know, I tried to play football once, but I found out that I had to be a contortionist.
You had to be a contortionist to play football?
I had to be able to run around my own end.
Mr. McNaughton, remind me to shave you some morning when I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Have any of you ever heard of Yale College?
I've heard of William and Mary.
Oh, I knew William before he met Mary.
Please. Will you stop it and try to answer the question?
Oh, I say, talking about colleges, you know, I spent the best years of my life up at Vassar.
Vassar is a girls' college.
Ah, the best years of my life.
All right.
You know, I knew a girl went to Vassar.
Yeah.
Her name was Lena.
Lena?
Oh, I haven't seen her for years.
Yeah.
And boy, how I miss my Vaseline.
What became of her?
Huh?
I said, what became of her?
Oh, she slipped through my fingers.
Don't worry, folks. Groucho Marx will be back in a few weeks. Let's get on here.
My old man used to go to college. He wore a toothbrush as a fraternity pin.
He wore a toothbrush as a fraternity pin?
Yeah, he went to Colgate.
I'm warning you, Miss McConnell, I can only take so much.
Well, take what you can and leave the rest.
Look, up in New Haven, Connecticut, there's a college that has a football field called the Yale Bowl. Now, what is the name of that college?
Did you say New Haven, Mr. Howard?
Yes.
That's near Hartford, isn't it?
Yes, it's near Hartford, not very far from New York, about 75 miles from New York. Now, what's the name of the college?
Oh, New York, New Haven, and Hartford?
New York. What? Please! What are you laughing at?
Oh, how he misses his Vaseline.
That's all we can take here. Mr. Stark, step in here and give our nice guest here $24.25 for helping us out. And thank you for being with us.
Mr. Carlos, here you are, sir, and the best of luck to you.
And now, folks, to relieve the monotony, we have the Townsend Quartet. Let's listen as they sing a special arrangement of Salt and Pepper.
Hurry, hurry, hurry up, come on the run. Don't be late and miss the fun. We are all so merry, merry all the day, 'cause here's the little game we play. Salt and pepper, vinegar and mustard, milk and honey, caramel and custard. Salt and pepper, vinegar and mustard, skip the row for 1, 2, 3. Bread and butter, marmalade and jelly, lollipops and jelly beans for Nellie. Bread and butter, marmalade and jelly, skip the row for 1, 2, 3. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Oh, I love coffee, I love tea. J, K, L, M, N, O, P. And you're the one for me. Oh, Jim Maloney, riding on a pony. Beef, pickles, cheese, macaroni. Salt and pepper, vinegar and mustard. Skip the row for 1, 2, 3. Salt and pepper, vinegar and mustard. Mustard, mustard, caramel and custard. Milk and honey, marmalade and jelly. Let's all skip together. Wally Cobble's got the kind of wobbles. Eating ice cream, cake, and sour apple. Wally Cobble's got the kind of wobbles. Skip the row for 1, 2, 3. Peas and onions, oranges and lemons. Cantaloupe and juicy watermelon. Beans and onions, oranges and lemons. Skip the rope for 1, 2, 3. Skip and say the alphabet. And every letter that you miss spells the one you can't forget. The one you long to kiss. Oh, salt and pepper, vinegar and mustard. Milk and honey, caramel and custard. Salt and pepper, vinegar and mustard. Skip the row for 1, 2, 3. Skip the row for 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, boys. And now, Mr. Stark, who will be as our next guest?
Mr. Howard, we have a very charming young lady. Her name is Miss Eunice Wiles.
Oh, well, fine. How do you do, Miss Wild? How are you this evening?
Fine, thank you, Mr. Howard.
Well, we're very glad to hear that. Where are you from, would you care to say?
New York City.
Oh, right here from New York. Well, good. You know a lot about New York, so I don't have to go any further when you're from New York. We're glad to have a native girl right here with us. How do you happen to be in New York this evening? I mean, how do you happen to be at the broadcast? You just stopped in to see the show?
Just stopped in, yes.
Well, thank you for coming along.
Are you alone, Miss Wilde? Are you alone?
What do you mean? What difference does it make to you if she's alone or not?
Mr. Howard, it's not much fun for the young lady in New York alone, you know.
Uh-huh.
She should have an escort.
I see. And I suppose you would be the escort?
Well,
yeah.
You put it rather bluntly, Mr.
I see.
You better be careful what you say, Mr. McNaughton. Suppose your wife is listening in.
Oh, I fixed that.
Oh.
I took the tubes out of the radio before I left home.
I see.
I also got rid of my antenna.
Oh, you did?
How long has antenna been with you?
Please. How long has antenna been with you? Pay no attention to Mr. McNaughton, Miss Wilde. He's what we call a W.O.W. around
What's a
here.
W.O.W.?
A worn-out wolf.
All right. As I say, don't let them embarrass you. Tell me, have you ever heard the show before?
Oh, yes, all of the time, Mr. Howard.
Oh, you've heard it many times. Well, we're glad
Steady
to hear
listener.
that. I won't have to apologize for the nitwits. Are you married?
No, I'm not. I'm single.
Oh, well, then your husband is not with you if you're
No.
not married, naturally. Well, we're very glad to have you. You say you've heard the program before.
Oh, yes, all the time.
Tell me, what do you do for a living?
I'm a receptionist in a textile office.
Oh, in textile. That's cloth and things like
That's
that.
right.
Is that right?
Mhm.
How do you like your work?
Yeah, you felt that all right.
I see. Well, it certainly is nice to have you with us here. How long have you been working textile?
About 4 years.
About 4 years, uh-huh. And you're not married?
No.
I almost got married once, Mr. Howard.
You almost got married?
Yeah.
Almost?
Yeah, I used to meet a very nice girl in the subway every evening.
Yeah.
I was almost going to marry her.
What happened?
Well, you see, she used to get off at 72nd Street, and I used to get off at 84th Street.
Well, why didn't you marry her?
Well, she was below my station.
She... What are you laughing at?
Oh, he misses his cold cream.
Please. Miss Wilde, I'm going to ask you before we're running a little short on time. So would you reach into the cap there and pick out a question for us as long as you're here? And would you be good enough to read the question if you don't mind? Just read it into our mic.
In the book, Robinson Crusoe, what was the name of the leading character?
Thank you. In the book, Robinson Crusoe, what was the name of the leading character?
Mr. Howard, isn't this a question about books?
Yes, it is.
I'm writing a book now, you know.
It is.
I'm writing a book. It's a sequel to The Naked City.
A sequel to The Naked City?
Yes, it's called Bear Mountain.
Please. In the book, Robinson Crusoe, what was the name of the leading character? Any schoolboy should know the answer.
But I never went to school, Mr. Howard.
I know that.
I started right at college.
You started right in at college?
Why bother with the middleman?
Oh, I see. What college did you ever
I
go
don't remember. It was either Penn State or State Penn.
Yeah.
I know they didn't use names for the students, just numbers.
Just numbers.
Well, what did you go to college for, Mr. Shelton?
To get polish.
Well, where is it?
I drank it.
Yes.
Now, speaking about polish, my grandfather had a sad death. He died from drinking shellac.
He died from drinking shellac.
Yeah, but he had a fine finish.
He had... Look, please, the story of Robinson Crusoe is about a man who at the age of 13 ran away from home and went to sea. He was shipwrecked on a barren island on which lived nothing but cannibals.
Well, I knew a cannibal's daughter once.
You did?
Yeah, you know, funny thing about her, she liked the boys better when they were stewed.
When... Please, Mr. Sheldon.
How did this man manage to live, Mr. Howard?
He lived off the animals on the island.
Oh, my, lived off of poor little animals? Was he able to support himself?
Ah, please, that's silly. He trapped the animals and used them for food.
Mr. Howard, tell me, you say this man was shipwrecked.
Yeah.
Well, how did he get to the island in the first place?
He made a raft with his bare hands.
Must be awfully hard to make a raft out of bare hands. Well, of course, he had the nails.
He had the nails.
They were right at the end. Sure, they were right at the end of his palm.
Never mind. Let's get on with this thing. He had the nails. One day while strolling around the island, he saw smoke.
The island must have been on fire.
I see.
Maybe it was Fire Island.
All right. The smoke was coming over a hill, so he climbed up the hill, and what do you suppose he saw?
The other side of the hill.
Please, he saw fire.
He did? You know, I'll bet that's where the smoke was coming from.
Mr. McNaughton, you're wonderful. Your deductions are wonderful.
Not only that, they're repulsive.
They were cannibals. Cannibals was dancing around this fire.
Oh, cannibals?
Yes.
Ooh. I thought they were mosquitoes because they bite worse than mosquitoes.
Okay, in the middle of these cannibals, there was a man.
Who was the man?
The man was Friday.
I know, but who was the man?
I told you, Friday.
What are you talking about? I didn't see you Friday.
The cannibals were dancing around Friday.
Don't you see, Miss McConnell? The cannibals were dancing on Friday.
I don't care what day they were dancing. Who was the man?
Please, they were dancing around this man. They were getting ready to eat him.
Eat who?
They were going to eat Friday.
You mean they only eat on Friday? I bet they had fish for dinner.
Say, you know, that's a funny thing. I had fish today.
You did?
Yeah, I had a fried tomato.
What's the matter?
Nothing. What's the matter with you?
Let's get on here. You guys are making this thing worse.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
Is it
much
possible
worse.
How big a fellow was this Robinson
He was
Crusoe?
6 feet tall, so when he saw this horrible thing, he stopped short.
How could he stop short if he was 6 feet tall?
But who was the man?
Please, he was Robinson Crusoe's man Friday.
Well, whose man was he the rest of the week?
Let's go. Mr. Stark, will you step in here and give our audience guests
Friends from coast to coast, DeSoto Plymouth dealers are out to treat you fairly and squarely. When your car needs service of any kind, take it to one of the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers. You'll be given quick, speedy service. You'll be given friendly service, service with a smile. And you'll be charged a fair and square price for really expert service. Service by factory-trained mechanics who know your car from bumper to bumper. For the mechanics at the DeSoto Plymouth dealers use the most modern tools and the finest equipment. So remember, the next time your car needs service, there's prompt, efficient, courteous service waiting for you. Drive in where you see the sign of a DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Yes, be sure to see your DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Well, folks, the clock is sort of against us at this time, so we'll have to call it quits for this week, but we'll be back with you again next week if we're spared. Same time, same station. Try and be with us. Thank you for listening tonight. This is Tom Howard saying good night and good nonsense.
Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this time for A Taste of Ignorance, presented by the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation. This is Richard Stark signing off with a reminder about good highway habits from the National Safety Council. Always take it easy when passing parked cars. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Okay, you can take your fingers out of your ears. But I said you can take your fingers out of your September 4th. September 13th, 1950, 74 years ago, It Pays to Be Ignorant. The show would go away September 29th, and then it would come back on NBC for one more summer series. It Pays to Be Ignorant here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Up next, we'll go see what's going on with Jack Benny.
Radio has always been a source of quick, accurate information during a disaster. When you hear the alert signal, tune to these Conelrad frequencies, 640 and 1240 on your regular radio. During a national emergency, all power lines may be temporarily cut off. To make sure you receive the necessary survival information, keep a battery-operated radio in your family shelter. For accurate information and instructions during enemy attack, it's 640 and 1240 on your standard radio.
Classic Radio Theater, we go to September 13th, 1950. That's a Sunday, 71 years ago today. And we listen to Jack Benny.
The Jack Benny Program, transcribed and presented by Lucky Strike. You know, friends, smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact of the matter is...
Lucky's taste better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother.
Lucky's taste better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother. For Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, richer tasting, fine tobacco.
Lucky's taste better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike, Lucky Strike.
This is Don Wilson. You know, your enjoyment of a cigarette depends on its taste. That's true, friends. Smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact of the matter is, Lucky's taste better. Cleaner, fresher, smoother. Now, there are two mighty good reasons for that. The first one you already know. LSMFT, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Light, naturally mild, good-tasting tobacco. And second, Luckies are made to taste better. Made round and firm and fully packed to draw freely and smoke evenly. So, friends, if you want all the real deep-down smoking enjoyment you can get from a cigarette, be happy, go Lucky. Because smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact of the matter is, Lucky's taste better. Next time, ask for a carton of Lucky Strike.
Lucky's taste better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike, Lucky Strike.
The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Rochester, Dennis Day, Bob Crosby, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jack Benny's first radio broadcast of the season. Immediately after, he'll do his opening television show over the CBS network. But now, we'd like to take you back to a Friday morning several weeks ago and look in on Jack Benny's home in Beverly Hills.
Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. That song sure is true. It's easy living in the summer. I've been sleeping late every morning, going to the beach in the afternoon, spending the weekends fishing with my friends. I wish Mr. Benny would come back from his vacation so I could go on mine. Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. The front door. Yes? What is it, gentlemen?
We're from the North American Van and Moving Company.
Moving company?
Yeah. Isn't this Ronald Coleman's house?
No. Are the Colemans moving away?
Yeah, we're moving them today.
Well, they live next door, the house on the right.
Thanks. Go ahead, Joe. Let's go get the stuff.
Gee, I thought it was the mailman. I haven't heard a word from Mr. Benny in over 2 weeks. And then all he sent me was a postcard. He said he was invited to a big luau and had a wonderful time. I didn't know what luau meant, so I looked it up. It's a Hawaiian word meaning stuff yourself, the food is free. I remember once. Uh-oh, the front door again. Yes, sir?
We're from the Beacon's Van and Storage Company.
Oh, you got the wrong house. The Colemans live next door.
Well, we're not looking for Mr. Coleman. We're here to move Mr. and Mrs. James Stewart.
Oh, the Stewarts. They live in the brick house, the one on the left.
Thank you.
Maybe I ought to do a little work for a change. It's a good idea to get started doing it again. I'll go in the den and see if that needs straightening up. Gee, Mr. Harris has been off the show for 2 years now. I wonder if I ought to wake him up and send him home. Nah, that's Mr. Bentley's business. Doggone, this is the busiest day. Yes?
We're from Lyons Van and Storage Company, and we're here to move Mr. and Mrs. William Powell.
William Powell? Oh, they live in that White House right across the street.
Thanks.
Gosh, I can't understand why. Now the phone. Mr. Benny's residence. No, I'm sorry. Mr. Benny's not back from Honolulu yet. What's that? He made an appointment for a haircut next Tuesday? Well, he doesn't have to be here for that. I'll send it over. Goodbye. Well, I better get in the kitchen and... Again! First the door, then the phone. Then the door again. One thing after another.
Rochester, I'm home.
Boss!
Rochester, you seem so surprised that I'm back.
I am. I had no idea you'd come home today.
Well, I thought someone would tell you. I wrote to a lot of people that I'd be home today.
Who did you write to?
The Colemans, the Stewarts, and the Powells. I wonder if they got my letters.
Oh, they got them. They got them.
Here, help me inside with my bag. Huh? Rochester, did any of my cast get here yet?
No, were you expecting them?
Yeah, I called them when I got off the boat and told them to come here for an important meeting. Now, Rochester, take my small suitcase up to my room.
What about the two large ones?
Oh, they're filled with dirty laundry. You better wash and iron it right away.
Yes, sir.
And when you're done, I'll give you the names of the people in Hawaii you're to send it back to. And do a good job, eh?
Boss, have we got customers in Hawaii now?
Yes. And you better wash the skirts by hand. That grass can stop up the bending. Now, Rochester, put some chairs. There's the door. I'll get it. Gee, it'll be good getting back on the air. I always get such a thrill out of the first check. And program, I mean. Coming.
Oh, hello, Mr. Benny.
Well, Dennis, come on in. Oh, Dennis, it's wonderful seeing you again. You know, you're the first member of my cast I've seen since we went off the air in June. And gosh, it's funny, Dennis. At the end of every season, we all go our separate ways, and then as the summer wears on, I begin to realize how much I miss the gang. And so when I opened the door and saw you here, it gave me such a warm feeling of...
Get it over with. I'm a busy man.
That's a fine greeting. You haven't seen me for 3 months, then you don't even ask me about my trip.
Where you going?
Where am I going? I just got back. I was in Hawaii for 3 weeks.
Hawaii? Boy, I'd like to go there sometime. What's it like, Mr. Benny?
Dennis, Honolulu is one of the most beautiful spots in the world. You ought to feel the soft, warm sand on the beach.
Get it over with. I'm a busy man.
Look at that. You asked me to tell you about it. I just got home. I'm not going to stand here and let you annoy me.
Say, does the rest of the gang know you're back yet?
Yes, I phoned them from this morning. This morning from the dock there.
From the dock?
Yeah.
Oh, then you just got back today.
Yes, on the Lurleen.
How was the boat trip?
The boat trip?
Uh-huh.
Dennis... I can't tell you what...
Get it over with. I'm a busy man.
Now stop that! Dennis, as long as the rest of the gang haven't arrived yet, let me hear the song you're going to do on the first program.
Yes, sir.
That kid is the only one I know who can undo a 3-month rest in 2 minutes.
Hands, I will cling to you. I'm yours forever and a day. With these hands, I will bring to you tender love as warm as May. With this heart, I will sing to you long after stars have lost their glow.
Dennis, that really sounded swell. Only when you do it on the program, I want you to pick up the tempo a bit, you see, and hold the finish just a little bit longer.
Well, my mother likes it this way.
Oh, she does, eh? Well, what does your mother know about music?
Plenty. Liberace couldn't get along without her.
Liberace? What does she do for him?
Before every show, she waxes his teeth.
Certainly makes her Toscanini the friendly credit band leader. Now, Dennis, as long as we're... Dennis, you stay right here while I answer the door.
Hello, Jack.
Mary! Mary Dollface, let me look at you. Gee, you look wonderful.
Oh, thanks. Dennis is here, isn't he?
Yes, how did you know?
You look awful.
It didn't take 2 minutes. Well, Mary, it's sure good to see you. Come here, I'm going to give you a big kiss.
Oh, Jack.
No, come here, let me kiss you.
All right.
There. How is that?
It'll never make the Kinsey report. Come on, let's go in. Well, hello, Dennis.
Hello, Mary. When'd you get back from Las Vegas?
Last week.
Hey, I didn't know you went up to Vegas. Did you enjoy yourself?
Uh-huh.
I went to Palm Springs this summer.
Palm Springs? In the summer? Dennis, why in the world would anyone...
Wait a minute, Mary, wait. Mary, don't get into any silly routines with Dennis.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Anyway, Jack, I had a good time in Vegas.
Yeah, it certainly is an exciting town, Las Vegas. Gosh, I've been there a lot of times. In fact, I even lost some money gambling. You know.
I know. It was on a slot machine in the Flamingo. The third one from the right as you enter the casino.
That's right, Mary. How did you know?
They have a little plaque there that reads, Jack Benny fainted here.
I don't care. It's good publicity. Anyway, Mary, I got to tell you and the gang about the wonderful time I had in Hawaii.
I spent the summer in Palm Springs.
Dennis, why...
Wait a minute, Mary. Don't you ask him. I'll do it. Me, he's already made a wreck out of. Dennis, you spent the summer in Palm Springs?
Uh-huh, and I had a swell time.
Look it. I don't know. Well, all right. Look, how can you possibly enjoy yourself in Palm Springs in all that heat? In the summer, it gets to be 120 degrees in the shade.
I was smart. I didn't stay in the shade.
See what I do to myself? Mary, that proves I love you, doesn't it?
Well, if you really love me, get me a cold drink, will you, please? I'm thirsty.
Okay, Mary, what do you want?
Ginger ale will be all right.
Okay, Rochester!
Yes, boss?
Will you please bring Miss Livingston a glass of ginger ale?
I'm sorry, but we haven't got any.
We haven't? Look, when I left for Hawaii, we had 3 cases of ginger ale.
Well, it's all gone now.
Rochester, tell me the truth. Did you have a party here while I was gone?
Well, yes, boss, in July.
What date in July?
Just July.
Look, Rochester, I don't mind your having a little... Come in! Rochester, look, I don't mind your having a little party while I'm gone, but then when you take advantage of...
Hello, Jack. Hi, everybody.
Oh, hello, Don. Don, it's awfully nice to see you.
Did you have a nice vacation?
I sure did.
Glad to hear it, Don. Where'd you spend your summer?
In the Brown Derby.
3 months in a restaurant?
Oh, no, Jack. There's a little summer resort way up north known as the Brown Derby. It's a wonderful place.
Oh.
Lovely climate, great fishing and swimming. Oh, and by the way, Marilyn Monroe was up there.
How's the scenery?
Dennis. You know, it's funny that you mention her, Don. You know, Marilyn Monroe is going to be on my television show.
She is?
Yeah.
Why, I saw her picture in the newspaper, and she had her leg in a cast. Understand she broke her ankle.
She tried everything, but Jack's holding her to her contract.
Mary. She's going to be on my program because she wants to, and she's going to be wonderful on it.
You know, I saw her and Jane Russell in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and they were terrific.
Dennis, where'd you see that picture?
In Palm Springs.
Oh.
That day it was 130 in the shade.
I know.
You know, Jack, one of the hit songs from that picture is Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, and that's going to be our commercial on the program.
Wait a minute, Don. The Sportsman Quartet would sound silly doing that number. That song should be done by girls.
Oh, I know. That's why I brought their wives over. I want you to hear it first.
Oh, the Sportsman's wives?
Yeah, I'll get them, Jack. They're right outside.
Oh.
Oh, girls, come on in.
Well, hello, girls. That's their wives, all right. Now, let me hear the number, will you?
Okay, take it, girls.
A kiss on the hand may be quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend. A kiss may be grand, but it won't pay the rental on your humble flat, or help you at the automat. Men grow cold as girls grow old, and we all lose our charms in the end. But square cut or pear shaped, these rocks don't lose their shape. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Remember, my dear, when it smokes, you are choosing. A lucky is a girl's best friend. The reason is clear, the tobacco they're using has no puff that's rough. Yes, sure enough, there's no rough puff. Lucky Strikes, the smoke you like, 'cause they're made of that one perfect blend. The masculine gender should always remember to buy her Luckies. Those better tasting Luckies made much better, that's why. To win a fair lady's heart, give Luckies by the carton. That's the smoke she's sure to like. To be happy, so Lucky Strike.
Well, that was just wonderful, girl. Don, I must congratulate you on such a great idea.
Well, thanks, Jack.
Say, Jack, now that we're all here, what'd you call us over for?
We're not all here. Bob Crosby is late.
I wish he'd get here so we can get this over with. I'm a busy man.
Dennis, we know all about how busy you are with your own TV show and your records and movies.
Besides that, this summer I started raising tropical fish.
Tropical fish? Say, that's a nice hobby.
Yeah, they're delicious.
Mary, when are you going to learn?
Hi, Jack. Hi, Jack. Hello, everybody.
Hey, it's Bob Crosby.
Hi, Bob.
The door was open, so I just walked in.
Well, we've been here waiting for you so we can have our little meeting. You know, kids, Bob was in Honolulu while I was there.
I didn't know that, Bob. Did you go alone?
Oh, no. I took my wife and my 5 kids, a nurse for the baby, and a cook and a maid.
Did you go on the lure line, too?
Oh, yes, Don. It was exciting, especially as we were landing in Honolulu. My whole family and all of our help lined up at the boat rail, and we sang aloha to the people on the dock.
Wait a minute, Bob. The people on the dock are supposed to sing to you.
Well, I know, but we outnumbered them.
Oh, I see.
Jack, you said when Bob got here, you'd tell us what this meeting was all about. Now, what is it?
Well, now look, kids, we're about to start a new season, and naturally, we all wanted to start off big. So I got in touch with my publicity man, Steve Bradley. He told me to have the whole cast here this afternoon. He's going to take a lot of pictures.
Oh, that's swell.
And that reminds me, Bob, you better get all the boys in your band together, because we'll want some pictures of them, too.
Oh, but that might be kind of tough, getting all of them.
Why?
Well, during the summer, they've taken other jobs.
Oh.
In fact, Frankie Remley formed his own orchestra and is appearing every night at the Cinegrill in the Hollywood Roosevelt.
No kidding. Frankie Remley's got his own orchestra? Well, good for Frankie. At the cinema, did he get a good deal?
Oh, certainly. He had a smart agent. All the men in his band get scale, but Frankie signed for $60 a week and all the drinks he wanted.
Gosh.
Yeah, but the second week, the hotel changed that to no drinks and $1,000 a week.
I knew they'd find out sooner or later. So Frankie's working at the Cine Grill. What does he call his orchestra?
Well, on the marquee, he bills himself Frankie Remley and my 6 convicts.
What do you know? I bet they play the sweetest music this side of the Chino Honor Farm. You know, kids, some night, let's all go down there. Come in.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Benny.
Hiya, Steve. Hey, it's good to see
No
you.
time for chatter. We've got to get this publicity campaign rolling. Now, Benny, first we're going to get a picture of you giving a waiter a $5 tip.
What?
Stage money.
Oh.
Now, Mary, I've got a sympathetic angle for you. We'll show you selling stockings at the May Company.
Hey, that's great. You know, that's her old job.
What do you mean, old job? That's what I did this summer.
No kidding. Say, Steve, have you anything planned for Bob Crosby and Dennis Day?
Have I? I've got a stunt for Crosby here that'll have his name in newspapers from coast to coast. Hey, that's great. What do I do? You're going to sue the city where you were born, Spokane, Washington, for $10 million. Sue them? What for? You're going to claim they mixed up your birth certificate. You're really Bing, and Bing is you.
What?
Now, wait a minute, Steve. What about my mother? We'll sue her, too.
Hey, Bob, that's a great idea.
What have you got in mind for me?
Oh, Dennis, boy, you're a cinch. I have an idea that'll make you the most talked-of person in the country overnight.
Yeah, what do I have to do? What?
Commit suicide.
Suicide?
But I've got to find some novel way for him to do it.
Maybe I could eat nothing but chlorophyll and green myself to death.
Dennis.
Wonderful idea, kid. We'll save it for St. Patrick's Day.
Look, Steve.
Now we got to get some publicity pictures. I've got my photographer waiting out in the hall. Oh, Frank.
Oh, no. Are you the photographer?
Well, what do you think I am holding up this flashbulb? A glowworm?
Come on, Frank, let's get moving. First, you'll take some pictures of Benny, and I want you to make him look real good.
Well, this is going to be a challenge to Eastman Kodak.
Now, look, you...
Quiet till I finish focusing. Now, hold still.
Do you want me to smile?
You don't have to. I'll get your teeth anyway. This is an X-ray camera.
X-ray?
Do you want to make any bones about it?
Now, cut that out! That settles it, Steve. How many times I told you I don't want this photographer to take pictures of me?
Can't understand that, Benny. You're the only star at CBS who has trouble with him.
It's your own fault, Jack. You antagonize him.
I do not.
You do, too!
Now, listen, I've had enough out of you.
Don't raise your voice to me.
This is my house, and I'll do whatever I want.
Oh, no, you won't.
Oh, yes, I will.
Attaboy, sock him.
I think I will.
I was talking to him.
Oh, you were, eh? Well, I've had enough of this. Steve, out, and take that photographer with you.
Okay, Benny, but you're throwing away your future.
He had his future 20 years ago.
That settles it. Out, everybody out. Bunch of smart Alex. Rochester, fix me something to eat, will you?
Yes, sir.
I don't know. My first day home, all I have is trouble.
I know, boss, but it's sure good to have you back.
Thanks, Rochester. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back in a minute to tell you all about my television show which follows this program. But first, a word to cigarette smokers. Smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact of the matter is...
Lucky's taste better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother.
Lucky's taste better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother. For Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, richer tasting. Fine tobacco.
Lucky's taste better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike. Lucky Strike.
This is Don Wilson, friends, to tell you that Lucky's win again. That's right. Lucky's win again in a national smoking survey among college students. Last year, a survey was made in leading colleges throughout the country, which showed that smokers in those colleges preferred Lucky's to any other cigarette. This year, another nationwide survey was made, a representative survey of all students in regular colleges from coast to coast. Based on thousands of actual student interviews, this survey shows that Lucky's lead over all other brands, regular or king size, and by a wide margin. The number one reason, this year as last, Lucky's better taste. Yes, Lucky's do taste better. First, because they're made of light, naturally mild, good-tasting tobacco. LS, MFT, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. And then, Lucky's are made better. Made round and firm and fully packed to draw freely, smoke evenly. Actually made to taste better. After all, smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact of the matter is, Lucky's taste better. Cleaner, fresher, smoother. So be happy, go Lucky. Get better taste with a carton of Lucky's.
Be happy, go Lucky, get better taste today.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 30 seconds, I'll be doing my first television show, and I'm having Marilyn Monroe as my guest star through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox, producers of The Robe, which will soon be released in their new process, CinemaScope. Now, the television studio is 6 miles from this radio studio, and as I said, I only have 30 seconds. You say it's impossible to go 6 miles in 30 seconds. Believe me, with Marilyn Monroe waiting, I can make it. See you in 30 seconds.
The Jack Benny Show was written by Sam Perrin, Milt Josephsberg, George Balzer, John Tackerberry, Hal Goldman, and Al Gordon, and produced and transcribed by Hilliard Martin. The Jack Benny program is brought to you by Lucky Strike, product of the American Tobacco Company, America's leading manufacturer of cigarettes.
This is the CBS Radio Network. And KNX Los Angeles, where there's good dancing with the Hollywood Roosevelt Orchestra at 11:15 tonight.
71 years ago, September 13th, 1953, the Jack Benny program here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Tomorrow, Crime with yours truly, Johnny Dollar, John Daner as the Frontier Gentleman, Counter Spy, the FBI in Peace and War, and Claudia. That's all coming up on our Saturday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But now, Marie Wilson as My Friend Irma. That's next.
Everyone in the United States should know his community's public action signals and what they mean. There are 2 signals. The alert signal is a steady blast of 3 to 5 minutes. It means attack is probable. Take action as directed by your local authorities. Tune your radio to the Conelrad frequency of 640 or 1240 for official instructions and information. The take cover signal is a wavering tone or short blast for 3 minutes. It means attack is imminent. Take cover in the best available shelter. Be prepared. Know these signals and what they mean.
Cathy Lewis originated the role of Jane Stacy in the My Friend Irma show, but she was doing too much work, and so she took September and from 1948, 1949, took most of the season off because she was working too hard. She would return to the role in September 1949, and she would continue until the conclusion, until the conclusion of the radio show. She would continue through much of the show. She would leave the role in 1953. She was just tired of being the second fiddle to Marie Wilson. I know that Jimmy would like to be more than the second fiddle to Marie Wilson, but I'll leave that alone. 76 years ago, September 13th, 1948, Marie Wilson as My Friend Irma.
For the safety of your smile, use Pepsodent twice a day. See your dentist twice a year. Lever Brothers Company presents the Pepsodent Show, My Friend Irma, created by Cy Howard and starring Marie Wilson as Irma with Joan Banks as Jane.
Friendship, friendship, just a perfect friendship. When other friendships have been forgot, theirs will still be hot. My friend
about a plan for a world language that could be used by peoples of every nation. Me, Jane Stacy, I think it's a wonderful idea. It should bring a better understanding among all the countries. However, there's a chance the plan might fail. Why do I say that? Because I defy anyone speaking any language to understand my friend Irma. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my roommate, but there are times when I lose my patience. For instance, this morning I said, Irma.
Yes, Jane?
They've finally done it. They've developed an airplane to fly faster than sound.
Gosh, Jane, that's terrible.
Why?
Well, if two people riding in one of those airplanes try to carry on a conversation, they'd have to keep going back to find out what was said.
After that, I decided to change the subject before her head hit another air pocket. Besides, there are more important problems on my mind right now. Irma.
Yes, Jane?
I hate to keep reminding you, sweetie, but if we're ever going to straighten out our budget, you've got to cut down on this foolish spending of yours.
What do you mean, Jane?
Well, you waste your money on such ridiculous things. Like the time you bought those obsolete tennis rackets with no strings.
Well, I always miss the ball anyway. And besides, Jane, they're not wasted. You can always use them for fans.
Stringless tennis rackets for fans? Sweetie, there's nothing with which to circulate the air.
Well, that's why it's good. There's no draft. You can't catch a cold.
I give up. Look, I don't want to run your life, Irma, and tell you how to spend your money, but you work hard for it, so I think you should only spend it on things that are practical.
Practical? You mean like shoes?
Yes, precisely.
Well, then, Jane, wait until you see the pair I bought this morning for only $2.
$2? Well, that's wonderful. That's what I call a real bargain. What are they like?
Oh, they're lovely. Gosh, I wish I had 2 left feet.
Oh, Irma.
Oh, gosh, don't be angry, Jane. The shoes look so lonely. No one would go near them.
Honey, I'm not angry. It's just that right now people should hang on to their money because we're in what's called an inflationary period. Do you understand, Irma, or shall I explain?
Oh, Jane, do you take me for a dummy?
Well, inflation is a situation where the value of an item remains the same, but the cost increases out of proportion. Is that clear?
Yes, but what has that to do with inflation?
Let me put it another way while I still have half my mind left. Irma, when you go to Mr. Holly's grocery store, how many quarts of milk could you buy in the past for 50 cents?
Well, let's see, 12.5 cents a bottle. I used to get $4 I used to get 4 bottles for 50 cents.
That's right. And how many bottles do you get now for 50 cents?
5.
5.
Yes, I know the clerk better.
Oh, Irma, you're just not getting the point of this discussion. Look, I'll bring the whole thing closer to home. How much money do we have in our joint checking account?
$200.
That's right. But that $200 today is only worth $50.
Only $50? Gee, I didn't know the banks charged that much interest just to hold it for us.
No, honey, it's only worth $50 because money won't buy as much today. The dollar is shrinking.
Is that fair to George Washington? Hey, Jane, don't hit your head against the wall. You'll crack the plaster.
Irma Peterson, I will try once more.
Okay, Jane, and this time I'll concentrate with my mind.
Honey, if you don't want to work with me, don't work against me. Look, forget what I said about inflation. Just try to cut down on your spending, and I'm sure we'll get along. We're not millionaires, but we're doing all right. We have $200 in the bank, and the only money we owe is on the piano. A $20 a month payment isn't too difficult, so if we don't make any foolish purchases, we'll be able to pay off the piano, and we'll get by.
But, gee, if the money is shrinking...
Yoo-hoo! Girls! Irma, that sounds like Mrs. O'Reilly. Will you see what she wants, honey?
All right, Jane. What's the trouble, Miss O'Reilly?
Irma, darling, I'm locked out up here on the roof.
Oh, I'll be there in a second, Miss O'Reilly. I'll be right back, Jane.
Hello. Yes, Al. What? Tell Irma you'll be late? Where are you? Oh, at the unemployment office. Al, you sound dejected. What happened? You lost a dear friend. Oh, that's too bad. What did he die from? Oh, he didn't die. He got a job. Well, chin up, Al. It will never happen to you. Yes, I'll tell Irma. Goodbye. Come in.
Are you Miss Jane Stacy?
Yes?
I'm Mr. Woods of the Melody Piano Company.
Oh, yes, of course. I'll make out the check for our monthly payment right away. $20?
Before you make it out, Miss Stacy, I'd like to have you hear about the offer we're making to our installment buyers.
Oh, well, really, I'm not interested in buying anything else right now. You see, we still owe $500 on the piano,
That's just it, Miss Stacy. Our company is buying out a competitor, and we must have additional cash immediately. Therefore, we're trying to liquidate some of our accounts. So I'm prepared to make an offer whereby you can save $300 by paying off your account at once.
Well, that sounds like a wonderful business proposition.
Oh, it is. Are you interested?
Why, of course I am. Gee, I hate to go into our savings, but it's too good an opportunity to overlook. I'll give you a check right now. This breaks me, but I think I've got a bargain. Here you are.
Ah, thank you. The piano is now yours, paid in full. Here's your receipt. Good day.
Oh, baby, you're all ours. Come in.
Hello, Janie. Do you have some breadcrumbs I can borrow?
Well, sure, Mrs. O'Reilly.
I want to feed the pigeons.
Mrs. O'Reilly, I thought you hated pigeons.
I do. But I was drying my eyelashes on the windowsill and one of them flew away with them. Oh, this nesting time is ruining me eyes.
I see. Where's Irma?
She's still up on the roof. She was saying something about taking all of her money out of the bank and washing it in Lux because she didn't want it to shrink. What's it all about, Janie?
Oh, I never should have bothered her poor little head with that discussion on inflation. Come in.
It's only me, Professor Kropotkin. Hello, Janie and Mrs. O'Reilly. My two little trees. One a graceful willow, the other petrified forest.
So,
why, Professor?
Oh, excuse me, Janie. A little joke I picked up from a little Boy Scout. Say, Mrs. O'Reilly, I got a complaint to make.
What do you mean, complaint?
I want you to tell the people in the next apartment from me to shut off their fan at night. It keeps me awake.
How can a fan blowing in another room keep you awake?
It is blowing on my wall, and I have to lean against it all night to keep it from falling on my bed.
Oh, come now, Professor. The walls aren't that bad.
No? Then why is it when the man next door took a picture off his wall and pulled the nail out, my coat fell down?
Listen, Professor. I'm in no mood to do favors for anyone until I find out who locked me on the roof.
Mrs. O'Reilly, I did.
You? Why?
Well, you know that little flower box I keep up on the roof?
What about it?
Well, I planted tomatoes in it this summer, and the birds keep pecking at them.
And what does that have to do with me?
Well, no offense, Mrs. O'Reilly, but where could I find a better scarecrow?
Scarecrow? I'll show you.
No, please, Mrs. O'Reilly, you are supposed to be a lady, I think.
Why, you off-key hyphit.
Now, stop it, the two of you. I have some wonderful news I want to tell you. The Melody Piano Company just gave me a wonderful business proposition. I just paid off the piano.
But, Janie, I thought you owed $500.
Yeah, I did, but Mr. Woods from the piano company settled for $200. Pretty smart business head on little Janie, huh?
Oh, I think that's wonderful, Janie. I always say people should own everything outright.
Except if you live in a room like mine. Then all you should own is a straitjacket.
Oh, hush up with you.
Oh, hello, everyone. Gee, it's so beautiful up on the roof. Scenery's so nice. I saw a big, huge oak tree. There was a squirrel in it. He was so cute. Kept staring at me so strangely. Did Al call Jane?
Yes, sweetie. He's on his way.
And so are we. Come on, Mrs. O'Reilly. I'll race you down the stairs.
Professor, you make me feel like a little child again.
Look who's a child. A remark like that could cause Mother Goose to kill herself.
wonderful news for you. The man from the piano company was just here. Come in.
Hello, Jane. Hiya, chicken.
Hello, Al, honey.
Hello, Al. Look, kids, I know you two are in love with each other and would like to be alone. And personally, I prefer it that way. See you around.
What's the matter with her?
Oh, she's worried about our bank account.
Your bank account?
Yes, Jane says it's shrinking all the time. It's something called inflammation.
Inflammation?
Yes, everybody knows about it. It's something where the price is the same, but the cost goes up because you pay less and therefore pay more and have less, I think.
No, chicken, you mean inflation. Works very simply. We'll explain. A few years ago, you walked into the corner store, laid down $1, and walked out with a pair of nylons, right?
Right, Al.
Now, suppose you walked into that same store today and laid down $1. What would you get?
A cherry pie. There's a bakery there now.
No, chicken, let me lay it out for you. You see, we are now in a period of uncertainty where no one knows what can happen to our money. But we have had panics before. I believe it was in 1893. Things were so desperate, the Treasurer of the United States was empowered to act whenever the gravity of the situation demanded it. This was to become known as the law of gravity.
Al, to think I might have gone around with a stupid fellow.
Well, chicken, you just happen to be lucky.
Oh, yes, Al, I guess I was just born with a horseshoe in my head. But, Al, going around with such an intelligent person has got me thinking.
Now, wait a minute, chicken. You're lucky, but don't be desperate.
No, Al, I've learned a great deal from you and Jane, and I'm going to do something about it. Goodbye, Al.
Where are you going, chicken?
Oh, Jane and I have $200 in the bank, and I'm not going to stand around and watch it shrink. I'll be Jane's lifesaver. Goodbye.
Now, wait, chicken.
Al, I've never thought clearer in my life. I know exactly where I'm going.
Chicken, come out. You're in the closet.
Irma, honey.
Hiya, Jane.
Oh, Al, it's you on the sofa. I thought it was the laundry bag. Where's Irma?
She went out. Said she was going to be your lifesaver.
Lifesaver? I don't understand that. Hello.
Hello, Jane.
Irma, where are you?
Jane, I just left the bank, but you don't have to worry about our money shrinking.
That's good, Irma. What did you do?
I took it out.
Oh, Irma. Irma!
Oh, I knew you'd be thrilled, Jane. Goodbye.
Jane, what's wrong? Your eyes are popping.
I just gave the piano man a check for $200, and Irma just took the money out of the bank.
Holy mackerel. So that's what she did.
That's what she did.
Well, Irma's only trying to be your lifesaver.
Lifesaver? She's no lifesaver.
Well, sure she is, Jane.
How can you say that? Just because she's sweet?
Well, partly. But most of the time it's because she sounds like she's got a hole in her head.
Your winning smile is a Pepsodent smile. Again and again, people have found it true. The smile that wins is the Pepsodent smile.
Here's a story that proves it. The true experience of Judy Barron. A young dancer from Rochester, New York, Judy was auditioning for a part in a musical show in Miami. After watching dozens of girls try out, the director pointed to Judy and said these magic words. There's the girl, that one with the Pepsodent smile. Yes, Judy's smile won the part for her. A big step toward fame and fortune. Judy Barron told us herself.
The director was right, too. My smile is a Pepsodent smile. I always use Pepsodent toothpaste.
Like Judy Barron, people all over America agree. The smile that wins is the Pepsodent smile. In recent comparison tests, thousands of people preferred Pepsodent with Irium over the brands they'd been using at home. Yes, Pepsodent won by the overwhelming average of 3-1 for its cool, minty taste, for making breath cleaner and teeth brighter. Try new Pepsodent toothpaste with Irium, and you will see the smile that wins is the Pepsodent smile.
Well, Irma has drawn all our money out of the bank. Just when I've given a man a check for the entire amount. Let's see, I'm 24 now. With a smart lawyer and time off for good behavior, I'll be 29 when I get out. Al.
What, Jane?
You know her as well as I do. You love her as much as I do. Just tell me, what makes Irma do these things?
I don't know, Jane. They say a woman has a right to change her mind. And I think Irma should change hers for anything she can get. Now, please understand me. I'm nuts about the girl. It's just that I'm plenty worried about what our kids will be like. You know, what they call prenatal influence.
I don't know, Al. Sometimes I think it's my fault, and yet how can I be patient with her? She's so gullible. Yesterday, I sent her out for a half a chicken. She paid $6.
$6? How'd you get clipped like that?
She says the man told her the chicken was raised on the Mason-Dixon line, and she was getting the half with the southern exposure.
Know what you mean, Jane. It was like the time she paid $5 for that bottle of perfume. She said it was called Flirt. Turned out to be Flit.
Al, I just had a horrible thought.
What, Jane?
You don't think with our $200 she'd buy anything?
Oh, no. No, she wouldn't. Unless, of course, she happens to walk past some of them clip joints on Main Street.
Hello?
Hello, Jane.
Irma, honey, where are you?
Shopping on Main Street.
Oh, no.
Jane, sit down. Wait, I'll get you some water. Chicken, hurry home. Goodbye. Breathe deeply, Jane, deeply.
All our money. And there's a check out against it. Oh, Al.
Cannot understand that chick. The way she goes around in circles, I could swear she was born in a Mixmaster. Come in.
It's only me again, Professor Kropotkin. What's the matter with little Janie?
Irma took the $200 the girls had in the joint account, and she's loose on Main Street.
Main Street? Janie, you should know better than to let Irma shop.
Well, I only have myself to blame. I must have frightened her with all that talk about inflation. I should never have mentioned that stupid subject.
Please, Janie, inflation is not stupid. Either you give in to it, or else you can fight it. We at the Gypsy Tea Room, we are fighting it. We don't raise the prices. We just water the soup. In fact, we have put so much water in our soup, if you study a bowl closely, you can see the tide go in and out.
If she'd only bring the money home. Irma.
Oh, Jane, I took a cab home because I'm so anxious to tell you the wonderful news.
Irma, just tell me one thing. Have you got the money?
Who wants money? It shrinks. I was sitting on a bench thinking about what you said about inflation, Jane.
Yes?
And a nice man came over. He said hello, and I said I had $200 that was troubling me.
Take some more water, Jane.
Imagine that was all I said, and he took an immediate interest in my problem. Men are so thoughtful.
Jane, that's enough aspirin. You'll kill your lunch.
So he sent me to his brother on Main Street.
Irma, while I still have the strength to ask, what did you buy?
For $200, I got the sister diamond to the Hope diamond.
The sister diamond to the Hope diamond?
Yes, the man says it's the Wish diamond.
You mean you wish it was a diamond? Let me see it.
Here it is.
Irma, how much does this so-called diamond weigh?
A half pound. Look, isn't it beautiful?
Irma, honey, can't you see this is just a piece of glass?
Glass?
Certainly. Who ever heard of buying a half-pound diamond for $200?
Well, the man said normally they're much higher, but he was selling them cheap because they're last year's diamonds.
Chicken, I'm afraid you've been took.
Well, maybe I should have taken the other diamond, but there was a flaw in it.
A flaw?
Yes, every time you shook it, snow would fall on the little man inside.
Oh, Irma, I told you not to shop. Every cent we had in the world. And besides that, I've used that $200 to pay off the piano. How could you be such a stupid businesswoman?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jane.
Sorry? You're always sorry. You were sorry that time we had the party and you put chloroform in the coffee because I said I wanted everyone to relax. You were sorry that time we had the party and you put chloroform in the coffee because I said I wanted everyone to relax. You were sorry when you put the starch in my mouthwash because I said I wanted to keep a stiff upper lip. You're always sorry.
Janie, I can't stand my two little sweethearts to argue. Irma thought she was doing the right thing. So, if you want, I'll take her back to Main Street and try to get her money back.
No, Professor. Chicken is my problem, too.
Now, wait a minute, all of you. You may all think I'm mean, but I love Irma as much as all of you. I think Irma does these things because we pamper her too much. We don't give her any sense of responsibility. Well, here's a chance for her to stand on her own 2 feet. Irma, I want you to take this fillet of plate glass back to the store and get the $200 so I can make good the check I gave Mr. Woods of the piano company. And I mean it.
But Jane...
Don't but Jane me. Fortunately, I am a good businesswoman. I paid off the piano for $200. Now you go get that money back or I'll go to jail.
Oh, all right, Jane. Gee, I wouldn't do anything to hurt you. But the man in the store is going to be very angry. He said cultured diamonds are very hard to get and they seldom grow this big. That's why he gave me a short guarantee.
Short? How short?
What time is it, Jane?
2 o'clock.
Oh, I think the guarantee is expired. I better hurry.
Well, Janie, I think you showed good judgment in letting Irma take it back herself. It may make her a little more cagey. And speaking of cages, I think I'll go back to my room.
Oh, gee, Al, after I made such a good business deal by paying off the piano for only $200, I'm so embarrassed. I think I'd better call Mr. Woods and ask him to hold that check until I'm sure. Come in.
Miss Stacy?
Yes, I'm Miss Stacy.
Well, I'm Mr. Darrow from the Melody Piano Company. I'm here to collect the monthly payment.
What?
Yes, according to my records here, it's $20.
Oh, well, there must be some mistake. I've already paid $200 in full to your other collector, Mr. Woods.
Oh, so Woods has been here, too. Oh, Miss Stacy, I'm very sorry, but that man's an imposter. He has no connection at all with our company. He's worked this same racket on some of our other customers.
Al, did you hear that? This is wonderful.
I don't understand.
You wouldn't. Here's your $20. Good day. Oh, Al, isn't it wonderful?
How do you like that chicken? If she hadn't taken the money out of the bank, that crook would have cashed the check and you'd be out 200 clams. What a gal. What an intuition.
Well, I don't know what it is, Al, but she certainly pulled the bacon out of the fire. Oh, gee, Al.
What, Jane?
You know, maybe we're not giving Irma enough credit. In all her confusion, she might be smarter than all of us.
On the surface, no. But you know, Jane, genius is often buried deep. In Chicken's case, there was a cave-in. But finally, it's come to the surface. And I think we got a gusher in that kid.
Well, here I am. Irma, darling, we were waiting for you. Did you get the money back?
Why, of course, and I had some time. It was so tempting because he had another big special.
What was it?
Pearls, a whole bucket full.
Irma, you didn't buy them.
No, I think it was a second-hand bucket.
Irma, we're all out of aspirin. Just tell me, did he give you the money?
Yes, and because I knew what you would do, Jane, I went right to the bank.
Oh, no.
But I didn't put the money in.
Oh, good.
Because while I was standing in line, the man in front of me was holding your check. His name was Mr. Woods.
Oh, no.
So I figured there was no point in putting the check in.
Oh, good.
So I just gave Mr. Woods the $200, and here's your check.
Oh, Irma.
Oh, murder.
Gosh, I'm the only one seems happy.
Well, kids, there's only one man who can help us.
Who, Al?
Who else but... Hello, Joe? Al, got a problem. Jane and Irma have been swindled. No, Joe, not by any of your boys. This was an outside job. A guy by the name of Woods took him for $200, all the dough the girls had in the world. What do you advise? Uh-huh. 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 Mm-hmm. Thanks, Joe. You're the kind of a man who will leave his mark in the world. Huh? That's what's keeping you awake nights? You're trying to erase those fingerprints? Ah, Joe, you're an exceptional humanitarian. Goodbye, noble friend. Well, girls, you got nothing to worry about. Joe is going to get your money back from Mr. Woods.
Al, is there going to be any violence?
Let us not describe it as violence. Let us just say that Joe is sending out 2 superstitious men.
What do you mean, superstitious?
These gentlemen are going to knock on Woods.
Your winning smile is a Pepsodent smile. Again and again, people have found the smile that wins is the Pepsodent smile. That's borne out by the vote of thousands who tried new Pepsodent toothpaste with Irium in a recent nationwide test. These people were given plain, unlabeled tubes of Pepsodent and were asked to compare it with the brands they were using at home. When their votes came in, Pepsodent won by the overwhelming average of 3-1. These people say new Pepsodent tastes better, makes their breath cleaner and their teeth brighter than any other toothpaste they tried. Remember, that's not just our opinion. That's what people say. They say it 3-1. They've seen Pepsodent with Irium remove the film that makes teeth look dull, uncover new brightness in their smiles. Try it, and you will see the smile that wins is the Pepsodent smile.
We got our money back, and I'm so happy. I'm almost beginning to like Joe. And never again will I discuss inflation with Irma. However, Irma is now certain that inflation has already arrived. So I said, Irma, what makes you so certain inflation is here? And Irma said,
Well, this morning I asked a man to change $1.
Yes?
I got 10 dimes. I can remember when you only got 4 quarters.
Well, they say money talks, and if it does, I'm sure it makes more sense than My Friend Irma.
My Friend Irma is produced and directed by Cy Howard. Mark Levy writes the script with Stanley Adams and Roland McLean. And it's brought to you by Pepsodent Toothpaste with Irium, another fine product of Lever Brothers Company. Marie Wilson is starred as Irma with Joan Banks as Jane. The part of Al was played by John Brown. Hans Conried was heard as Professor Kropotkin and Gloria Gordon as Mrs. O'Reilly. Music was under the direction of Bud Gluskin. This is Wendell Niles reminding you to tune in 1 hour earlier next week and listen to the Lux Radio Theater, followed by the Pepsodent show, My Friend Irma. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Cathy Lewis and Joan Banks played Jane Stacy. Late in the run, Mary Shipp would come in as Kate Foster to take both their places. From September 13, 1948, 76 years ago, Marie Wilson in My Friend Irma. Up next, Amos and Andy, as you've never heard them before.
The threat of fire in our homes is always with us. It's a good idea to know how to deal with it. For fire to burn, 3 things are necessary: fuel, heat, and air. Take any one away, and no flames. Most small fires can be put out by cooling, dousing them with water, or by smothering, taking the air away. Another method is to get the blaze outside. Take the fuel away by using a broom or other tool. So remember, a fire needs heat, fuel, and air. Take any one away, and no fire.
So a couple of days ago on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, you heard Bob Hope and Jack Benny as disc jockeys as a gag. But in 1954, Amos and Andy became weekday disc jockeys for real on CBS. the half-hour Amos and Andy Music Hall. We're going to hear the first episode of that series as it was broadcast 70 years ago today, September 13th, 1954.
Amos and Andy present transcribed their new show, the Amos and Andy Music Hall, with their special guests tonight, Jack Benny and Liberace. Your hosts every night, Monday through Friday, are the creators of Amos and Andy, Freeman Gosden and Charles Correll.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Freeman Gosden.
And this is Charles Correll.
It is with a great deal of pleasure that we welcome you, our friends, to a brand new Amos and Andy show, the Mystic Nights of the Sea Music Hall. And we sincerely hope you're going to like it.
It's a different sort of a show for Amos and Andy. Primarily a musical show with important guest stars each night. But it's still Amos and Andy. Amos and Andy in character, spirit, and fun.
Yes, folks, the old Kingfish, believe it or not, is running a radio station at the Lodge Hall. And tonight, the opening night of their new show, they have as their guests Jack Benny and Liberace.
So, what do you say we drop in over at the Lodge Hall and see how our friends are making out with their new venture? Hey, Amos.
Yeah, what's the matter, Andy?
That red light up there just started blinking at us like a bloodshot eyeball.
Oh, holy mackerel, Andy. That means we're on the air.
Oh, me. Kingfish, say something. We're on the air with our new show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, George Kingfish Stevens, welcoming you to a brand new Mystic Nights of the Sea Music Hall with my co-hostesses, Amos Jones and Andrew Hogg Brown.
Hello, everybody. Now, along with our regular show on Sundays, we're going to be on the air 5 nights a week now.
Yes, folks, every night at the same time, Monday through Friday, and we hope you'll be listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had a little one of them opening night mishaps before we went on the air, but it's cleared up now. This afternoon, one of the Lodge brothers went up on the roof and hung his wash on the antenna. And for an hour there, we was transmitting through Brother Jackson's red flannels.
Yeah. In other words, CBS was coming to you through the courtesy of the BVDs.
Well, folks, we got a great guest list lined up for you this week. Bob Hope, Jack Benny, Edgar Bergen, Frank Sinatra, Rosemary Clooney, and tonight we got that great piano player, Liberace.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a great show for you here. The only thing marring the festivities is that we ain't got the new furniture yet for the station. But this being radio, you can just imagine that these empty egg crates that we are sitting on here is actual Duncan Fife love seats with Chippendale legs. Andy, what is the first record you got on the turntable?
This first record has got a little nostalgia in it, and it's a big hit all over the country. Mr. Frank Sinatra singing the big hit song from Judy Garland's picture, A Star Is Born, and the song is called The Gal That Got Away.
Well, as long as I'm the head man here now, I'll tell Andy to put on the first record. All right, Andy, start the record.
Kingfish, I is nervous. Look at here, my hand done froze on me. I shaking like a leaf.
Oh, that's the trouble around here. Just 'cause it's opening night, you gotta start shaking. Why don't you be calm like I is? I'll put the needle on the record. You gotta be calm like this.
The night is bitter, the stars have lost their glitter, the winds grow colder, and suddenly you're older. And all because of the gal that got away. No more her eager call, the writings on the wall. The dreams you dreamed have all gone astray. The gal that won you has run off and undone you. That great beginning has seen the final inning. Don't know what happened. It's all a crazy game. No more that all-time thrill. For you've been through the mill and never a new love will be the same. Good riddance, goodbye. Every trick of hers you're on to. But fools will be fools. And where's she gone to? The road gets rougher, it's lonelier and tougher. With hope you burn up, tomorrow she may turn up. There's just no let up, the live long night and day. Ever since this world began, there is nothing sadder than a lost loser looking for the gal that got away. Please come back. Won't you come back, the gal that got away?
This is the Kingfish once again, coming to you from the Mystic Knights of the Sea Music Hall. And like I say before, ladies and gentlemen, our guest of the evening is Mr. Liberace, the music world's answer to the Smiling Irishman.
Kingfish, this is some ad you done decomposed for the newspaper today.
Yeah, look at it here in the newspaper. Grand Super Premiere, Mystic Knights of the Sea Music Hall. Big shot guest tonight positively will appear. World's greatest entertainer.
World's greatest entertainer. Well, that show describes Mr. Liberace all right.
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, later on this week, we're going to have people like Bob Hope, Jack Benny, Edgar Bergen, Rosemary Clooney. Oh, we got a great lineup for you folks. Things is really running like clockwork. No delays, no fuss, no trouble. Oh, I tell you, boys. Well, that must be Mr. Liberace now. Fix your tie there. Everything on schedule. All right, now, wait a minute now. Come in.
Well, here I am, boys. Am I late?
Holy mackerel, it's Mr. Jack Benny.
Miss Benny, we is glad to see you and all that, but, what is you doing here tonight?
What am I doing here? I'm the guest star on your show tonight.
You is the guest star on our show tonight?
Certainly. It says so right here in the paper. See? Positively will appear. World's greatest entertainer. I thought it was a novel touch, not coming right out and mentioning my name. Just saying the world's greatest entertainer. It's like saying Bing or Ike. People know you don't mean Bing Schwartz or Ike. Is there something wrong, Kingfish?
Wrong, Miss Benny?
Yes, your eyes. If they were olives, I'd say you just popped your pimento.
Well, you see, what happened, you were supposed, tonight we is, that is,
Well, that's the silliest explanation I ever heard.
Andy, for goodness sake, put on the next record.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's K-Star's latest hit record. Am I a toy or a treasure?
Am I a toy or am I a treasure? Which of the two am I to you? Am I a puppet that you dangle on a string? Or is your love for me a rare and precious precious thing. Oh, will I be yours to cherish forever or thrown away one thoughtless day? Am I to be a here to stay thing or just another plaything? Am I a toy or a treasure to you? Am I a toy or am I a treasure? Which of the two am I to you? Am I a puppet that you dangle on a string? Or is your love for me a rare and precious thing? Oh, will I be yours to cherish forever or thrown away one thoughtless day? Am I to be a here to stay thing, or will I be another plaything? Am I a toy or a treasure to you? Am I a toy or a treasure to
Kingfish, we can't keep Mr. Benny sitting out there in the large hall much longer. He gonna get impatient.
Well, what is we going to do? He made his disappearance on the wrong night.
Well, maybe we could make an announcement and say, due to circumstances beyond our control, we is presenting Mr. Jack Benny.
Oh, we can't do that, you dummy. What is he going to do when he runs into Mr. Liberace and finds out that he ain't the world's greatest entertainer that we was referring to?
I tell you, boys, we is in a mess here. We is...
Now, see here, boys.
Yes, Miss Benny.
I must say this is a fine way to treat the world's greatest entertainer. I come all the way up here, by taxi yet, and what happens? All I've done for the past 10 minutes is share that crummy hall with a cuspidor, a moth-eaten moose head, and a poster that says, "Keep cool with Coolidge." I went to put my cigarette in the cuspidor, and a bat flew out.
Well, you see, Miss Benny, the thing is, we were expecting you, but not tonight.
But it said in the paper. Do you mean someone else is the world's greatest entertainer?
Well, you see,
Hello, boys. I hope I'm not late.
Well, Mr. Liberace.
Yes, sir. Come right in, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the world's greatest entertainer? I don't want to be catty, but what's he got that Georgie Jessel hasn't worn out years ago?
Why, Jack, good to see you. Are you on the program, too, tonight?
No, I was just in the neighborhood pricing a moose head. Now, if you'll excuse me...
No, Miss Benny, no. Now, don't go running off like that. Now, listen, now that you is both here, why don't we combine the interviews?
Oh, yeah, that's a fine idea, Mr. Benny.
Yeah, we can squat on you both here, and as the old saying goes, hatch 2 eggs with 1 bird.
Yeah, Mr. Benny, pull up the egg crate and sit down.
A double interview. Sounds like a fine idea to me. What do you think, Jack?
Well, as long as I spent the taxi fare.
After all, you was both musicians. You both comes under the juicy prudence of Patrilla.
Now, we'll start the interview, ladies and gentlemen, with Mr. Liberace. Now, Mr. Liberace, I have always noticed the beautiful tone you get out of your piano. I'm sure our listeners would like to know and would be interested if there's any special treatment that you uses to take care of your piano.
Well, before every performance, I have the piano tuned to concert pitch. Then, of course, room temperature has a great effect on the strings, so I always check for moisture or dampness. And for cleaning the keys, I never allow anything to be used but a mixture of warm milk and vinegar.
Well, that sounds very interesting. Now, Mr. Benny, has you got any secret for taking care of your violin?
Well, yes. About every 2 weeks, I rub the strings down with a little chicken fat. Gives me sort of a poultry pizzicato, if you know what I mean.
Certainly, Jack. You mean a leghorn legato.
Exactly.
Mr. Liberace, I know that in your life as a performer, you have done had many thrilling experiences. I wonder if you could tell the folks just what was the biggest surprise you ever had in your whole career.
Well, I think it was last May. I was booked to play Madison Square Garden, and I was a little doubtful about filling such a huge auditorium. And when they turned on the lights and I saw that huge crowd that had turned out to hear my humble efforts, I think that was the greatest and most thrilling surprise I ever had in my life.
Well, that certainly was a great tribute. Mr. Benny, what would you say was the greatest surprise you ever had?
10 minutes ago when that bat flew out of the cuspidor.
Well, them bats is dangerous things, all right. I'll never forget the night that one of them got my mother-in-law's transformation. The last we see of the thing, it was winging its way down Lenox Avenue like a hairy seagull.
I wonder if I'm insured against that.
Well, it's wonderful, Mr. Liberace. The number of fans you got, I understand that next year you're going to hold your concert in the Yankee Stadium.
Well, they are talking about it.
Well, tell me, Mr. Liberace, I know that you was busy making radio appearances and records, and you're on television. What about your concert tour?
I leave on October 17th for a 10-city tour that will include Huntington, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Buffalo, Providence, and we wind up in Boston.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to seeing you in person. And now, Mr. Benny, I wonder...
Now, my radio show goes back on the air September 26th, and I'm doing 2 television shows a month. One of them is going to be in color, and I know my fans are dying to see my blue eyes.
I noticed they're a little bloodshot today, though. It looks like 2 blueberries floating around in a bowl of ketchup. Makes a pretty effect, though.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we has a policy where our guest star always brings along his favorite record. Mr. Liberace, did you bring along yours tonight?
Yes, I did. But I think it's only fair that Jack play his favorite record.
Oh, no. You play yours. I insist.
No, Jack, I wouldn't think of it.
No, you're the guest, after all.
But, Jack, you've been in show business so much longer than I have. I'm sure your judgment is far superior to mine.
I know. But play yours. I'll be big about it.
Very well, Jack, if you insist. Here's the record, Amos.
When he plays the Yankee Stadium, I hope the wind blows his candles out.
Well, Mr. Liberace, this favorite record of yours, is it one of your new ones?
No, Amos. My brother George conducts the orchestra on my program, and he's just come out with a fine album. It's called Musical Journey with George Liberace. If you don't mind, I'd like to play one of the records from his album. I'm sure you'll like it.
Thank you, Mr. Liberace. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Liberace's favorite record, George Liberace's rendition of The Stars and Stripes Forever. Well, that brings us to the end of our first night here at the Mystic Knights of the Sea Music Hall. Mr. Liberace, I want to thank you for dropping over.
Thank you, Amos, for having me.
And, Mr. Benny, we want to thank you for coming over, even if you did barge in here on the wrong night.
Always a pleasure, Andy.
Excuse me for protruding, Mr. Benny, but I noticed your receding forehead done receded since you come in here.
Well, it's in my pocket. I'm not taking any chances with that bat on the way out.
Well, good night, Mr. Benny. Good night, Mr. Liberace. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow night.
The Amos and Andy Music Hall transcribed will be presented again tomorrow night at the same time, when our guest will be Bob Hope. This is Harlow Wilcox inviting you to join us every night, Monday through Friday. The Amos and Andy Music Hall is produced by Sam Pierce and directed by Cliff Howell. Executive producers Joe Connolly and Bob Mosher.
Amos and Andy, starting in 1929 as a quarter-hour soap opera. They would become a half-hour situation comedy in 1943, and then their half-hour show would wrap up a weekly show, their situation comedy, in 1955. But on this date in 1954, 70 years ago today, they would begin a six-year run as a weekly show, the Amos and Andy Music Hall. And that was really where the direction of things were moving. They would do what we call strip shows, Monday through Friday shows that were primarily music-based. Not just Amos and Andy, you had a number of other performers who would do the same thing. They would do daily shows, and not before a studio audience. Their final show would be on November 25th, November 25th, 1960. And we'll see if we can find that one. Alrighty, thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. A reminder tomorrow, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, also Frontier Gentleman, Counter Spy, the FBI in Peace and War, and Claudia. That'll be coming up on Saturday. Sunday, The Whistler, Nick Carter, Master Detective, Gangbusters, Murder at Midnight. And then on Monday, Milton Berle, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, Groucho Marx and You Bet Your Life, and the Aldrich Family. And then a couple of hour shows on Tuesday with the Chase and Sanborn Hour and a presentation on the Lux Radio Theater of Sunset Boulevard starring Gloria Swanson. That's all coming up in the days ahead here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Up next, Claudia.
When the family is packing up to go on a vacation or maybe on an all-day trip to the beach, everyone's pretty busy. Dad is sure the car is in good condition, Mom sees to it that food and extra clothing is packed, and of course we can always count on the kids to bring special equipment, everything from a tennis racket to a portable radio. The same thing is true in preparing for possible enemy attack. Everyone should have a job to do and know when to do it. Be sure that everyone in your family is assigned a job to do in case of enemy attack.
We wrap up this edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with an episode of Claudia. This goes back 76 years to September 13th, 1948.
Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia, based on the famous play and novels by Rose Franken. Brought to you transcribed Monday through Friday by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
David, is that you?
Home to roost, Grandma.
Was very hot in the city today?
No, not too bad. Sort of muggy. Rained a lot.
Rained practically all day here, too. Came down in buckets. Ought to be cooler tonight.
How's everything at home? Hand me the matches, Ma.
Here you are. Is that a new pipe?
No, same old pipe. Bobby all right?
Everything at home's 100%. You sound like Claudia.
Where is Claudia?
Feeding Bobby. She'll be down in a moment. David, why are you standing around smiling like that?
Am I smiling?
Look like an advertisement for tooth powder.
Been a fine day, Mrs. Brown, a fine day.
I really do think you and Claudia are telepathic. Claudia's been going around with a smile on her face all day, too.
I've been wondering how she'd be. It's really the first day she's been home alone since her play closed.
She didn't seem to mind.
Especially with the rain, I guess. You know, I was afraid she'd be restless and sort of low. Last week was such an exciting and busy week, and now, all of a sudden, nothing to do.
Well, as I say, she's been acting delighted with herself all day. Going around singing, smiling to herself, just like you. And every now and then I've noticed her counting on her fingers, looking as if she were figuring out some complicated mathematical problem, but she wouldn't tell me what it was all about.
Well, we'll soon find out. We'll drag it out of her. In the meantime, Mrs. Brown, let me give you some good news.
I'm always ready to hear that.
Well, Harrington sent us a first payment on that freight terminal that we designed for him.
That is good news.
And Roger insisted that I take a bonus on it.
Well, we eat.
Oh, we not only eat. We eat caviar and baked Alaska.
Just because you've come into some money, David, doesn't mean we all have to have indigestion.
Well, the rich always have indigestion. Now, Mrs. Brown, here now. Feast your eyes on this lovely green check.
$1,000.
Take a look at that.
Ooh, I've never seen so many zeros in all my life. David, I am delighted for you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Aside from investing in caviar and baked Alaska, what are you going to do with all this $1,000?
Well, you remember last week, Mother, we decided that we were going to get going on furnishing this house. Well, now Claudia has so much time on her hands.
And you don't want her to get restless or impatient.
Anyway, why don't we just give her this money and let her enter upon a career of interior decorating?
I think you're very generous, David.
No, not at all. This is my house, too, isn't it? I have a right to some drapes. Look at those windows. Wouldn't they look good with drapes on them? Look at that.
Lovely.
A carpet. We need a carpet down here. We need a carpet in the hall.
Yes, we really do.
Some other necessities. I have a right to those things, haven't I?
Yes, you certainly do trust Claudia.
You think she'll be pleased, Mother?
She'll be ecstatic, intoxicated, drunk with her own wealth.
Oh, come on now. $1,000 isn't that much money.
Oh, yes, it is. More than Claudia's ever had in one bulk sum to spend as she chooses.
Yeah, if we can get her to spend it.
I don't think you'll have any trouble. How are you going to tell her?
Oh, the simplest and quickest way possible. No secrets or surprises this time. This is a genuine gift.
David, why didn't you tell me you were home? How long have you been here? Why didn't you come up and say hello?
Now, wait a minute. I'll go back and start at the beginning. Let's see. Why didn't I tell you you were home? I just this minute put my hat in the garage and took my car off.
Bobby's fine.
Well, that's good.
He ate his whole dinner without a murmur.
That's fine.
I had a beautiful day.
That's
It
fine.
was a wonderful rain. I couldn't leave the house.
Is that fine?
Very fine.
Good.
It was nice spending a whole day at home after having practically lived at that theater for 2 weeks. I guess I'm just a homebody at hearth.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh's right.
I'll go and tell Bertha you're home, David, so she'll get dinner on.
Don't forget the baked Alaska, Mrs. Brown.
Sorry.
Baked Alaska.
Yeah? From now on, nothing. Absolutely nothing but the best.
I have had nothing but the best for a whole year, darling. David, you realize we're married almost a year?
I certainly do. Every time I look at myself in the mirror, it's a reminder.
2 more days and it's our anniversary. I love being married, don't you?
It wasn't as bad as I expected either.
David, you realize how rich we are today?
You never spoke a truer word.
I don't mean rich the way you mean rich.
Well, how do you mean rich?
I mean, I don't mean the baby and the farm and Mama and you, because that way we're rich every day and every night. I mean rich the way other people mean rich.
Well, this is as clear as mud. Now, which way is that?
Money rich.
Mama was we are without a doubt telepathic.
You know I'm not interested much in money, but it's nice when you get it in a lump, isn't it?
Well, money has a place in the scheme of things.
It's not really important, but
I know. Don't apologize. It comes in handy. But tell me, how did you know?
You mean about money being handy? Everyone knows that.
No, I don't mean that at all. I mean about the check.
Did Mama guess? Oh, honestly, she would. I was waiting to tell you both at the same time.
You were going to tell me.
Yes.
Say, now, wait a minute. Hold it right there. Did you call the office today when I wasn't there?
I did not. David, you're talking in riddles again.
So are you, my love.
Well, I'm going to stop this minute. What I have to say is too exciting to beat around the bank.
Oh, I'd rather have some news of my own, thank you.
Here comes Mama. Mama, do as I tell you.
Don't I always?
With no arguments, Mrs. Brown, no arguments. Mama, sit down on that chair by the fireplace, and David, you sit there right across from me.
We better sit down, Mama. It looks like she's got a whip.
All
Sit down
right.
there. Aye, I'm sitting.
Claudia, what is all this?
No arguments, Mama. You gave your word.
I did not.
Well, as good as. Now, come on, sit down, Mrs. Brown. Right over there. That's a girl. Now, Claudia has some news for you.
David, have you told her yet?
Hush up, Mother. Master Claudia has the floor.
What's more, I have the check.
Check? What check?
It came this morning in the mail.
Oh, so that's what.
Just look at this, will you? A check from the Eastbrook Summer Theater for $100.
$100.
What do you think of that?
What's so exciting about $100?
What's so exciting about $100? $100 is a fortune.
An enormous sum of money,
Enormous.
You mean they paid you $100 for being in a play for 1 week?
I had no idea it was so easy to make money. There I was having a wonderful time being in a professional play with a wonderful part and right here in Eastbrook. And they paid me $100 for it.
Overpaid or underpaid?
Overpaid. I should have paid them. Look at this, David. It's not the money, but it's the first money I've ever earned.
Well, I ought to turn you out to pasture more often. I could retire.
Just think, David, without lifting a finger, you could live off the fat of the land.
Oh, it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful to have a wealthy wife.
And a wealthy daughter. Little did I know when I gave birth to her some 19 years ago, she'd take such good care of me in my old age.
You know, you two aren't taking this seriously.
We are. I'm terribly impressed, Mrs. Norton. There's only one thing that worries me.
What's that?
Well, how are you going to tolerate me?
Well,
If you can make so much money, why aren't you going to get very independent and snooty?
Well, I am.
Oh, you are.
I'm going to go right out and buy myself a mink coat to wear while I'm milking the cow,
The cow.
which I'm going to buy for you, darling.
Oh,
You
thank
will
you very
just
much.
about be able to afford a quart of milk.
And, Mama, I'm going to buy you a pig, a small little pig you can call all your own.
I've been waiting for this day.
Now, let me see, a mink coat for me.
How do you make
Two
a noise
minks,
like a mink coat?
one on each arm.
I'm the one that'll have 2 minks, Mrs. Brown, both on the same
And I'm
arm.
going to buy a hen for the rooster and a wife for Bluff.
Oh, not another great day in this house,
Ruff,
please.
ruff.
Cow for David.
Moo.
Pig for Mama. And, let's see.
That leaves you about $99, doesn't
I'll
it?
buy a mouse for Shakespeare.
A field mouse, a house mouse, or a church mouse?
House mouse, of course. Shakespeare is a house mouse. I mean cat.
You'd be
Oh, that
insulted.
reminds me. I'll buy a house coat for Bertha.
What about Fritz?
See. Oh, Fritz is admiring a new scythe he saw downtown. I'll buy him a scythe.
What about Bobby?
Oh, Bobby doesn't need anything. He's still getting presents just for being born.
What are you going to do with the rest of your money?
Put it in the bank.
This is some $100, the biggest $100 I've ever seen.
Seriously, David, it's a lot of money, isn't it?
It most certainly is.
I think I earned it all by myself. If I didn't want to be a wife and a mother more, I could be a millionairess.
You are a millionairess now, and you don't know it.
I know it. This is just extra.
A dividend, perhaps.
Nope, the baby's the dividend, David.
I see.
The money is just extra. Maybe I should put it all away and save it for the dividend's education.
Now, he'll have one. You spend your money. It's yours.
Honestly, I have nothing to spend money on.
You'll find a way if you set your mind to it.
Here, David,
Nope,
you
nope,
take
nope,
it.
I will not.
Go
I
on,
will
go
not.
on, go
no,
on,
No,
please
stop pushing
take
it under my nose, Claudia. I
Makes
want
me
no
nervous.
part of your wealth. Don't you know that husbands are very proud?
Oh, don't be proud of
I most certainly will be. I'll touch not a sou of this. Now go out, buy yourself that mink coat, see if I can.
Please take it, David. Put it in the bank. Pay off the mortgage.
I like the mortgage. I've grown very fond of the mortgage. I wouldn't dream of paying it off.
Then pay off
There's
something
nothing
else.
else to pay off. Now take this check and put it in your stocking for a rainy day.
Today was a rainy day. I didn't have any use for it at all. Oh, it's so nice to know that in a pinch I needn't be a weight around your neck, David.
Well, I've gotten rather fond of my ball and chain.
You proud of me?
Busting with pride.
She's going to get conceited, David.
I am conceited. I'm conceited now, and I have been for months.
Right.
Hey, where are you going?
I haven't shown my check to Fritz and Bertha. I wanted you to be the first, but I think they have a right to see it.
They certainly have. They'll be very proud working for such a wealthy woman. No wonder she's been smiling all day, Mother.
David, you haven't told her yet about your $1,000, have you?
Oh, it's not very important.
Isn't it?
No. We've gotten along fine without it, so why make a fuss?
You're going to tell her, though, aren't you?
Of course I am.
But not today.
No, not today.
Because today $100 seems worth a great deal more than 1,000. Is that it?
You know, Mrs. Brown, sometimes, just sometimes, mind you, I think you're absolutely brilliant. Shall we dance? Da-da-da-da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. Now, come on, Mother. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Look out for the table. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Mama, you're very graceful on my feet. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Maybe we ought to go in vaudeville, Mama. Da-da-da-da-dum, da-dum.
When high school youngsters get together, there seem to be two requirements for a good time: Coke and music. At their own youth centers, they drop a nickel in the jukebox, drop another nickel in the Coca-Cola cooler, and the fun begins. That same kind of wholesome pleasure can be offered them at home. If there's a radio or phonograph, all you have to do is buy a case of Coke, stow a good supply in the refrigerator, and the young folks can play host to their friends at any time.
Well, what do you think of Claudia as a breadwinner, Mr. King?
If she were my wife, I'd retire.
And be satisfied with very little from that day forth.
Well, I don't know about that. But seriously, how does Claudia plan to spend her fortune?
8 ways, but the first of them is at an auction sale.
Oh, auction sale. Well, that could also be the last of them.
That's why my fingers are crossed. And they will remain crossed until we're home from that auction tomorrow.
Well, I'll be here to lend you the car fare home if you happen to need it.
Say there, Joe.
Yes, David.
Maybe I'll need a little of that car fare.
David, I'm sure you will.
I'm not going to the auction. Mama and Claudia are, but I'm not. I know better.
Well, you'll get the results when they get home. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Joe.
Every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir. And remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes. And ice-cold Coca-Cola is everywhere. These broadcasts are adapted for radio by Manu Starr, and the entire production is supervised and directed by William Brown Maloney.
And as Claudia and David slowly sink into the sunset, we move on here. And that concludes today's Friday the 13th episode of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll see you tomorrow for more Classic Radio Theater. I'm Wyatt Cox.